question was, due to previous social media posts, why was the individual able to obtain a weapon? We have nothing in the evidence that we have acquired so far that would indicate that he is a person that he did not lawfully purchase these weapons. He did not have a criminal history. The only thing that we are aware of is a traffic ticket. He did not have any state-ordered commitments for mental health. So of everything that we have seen so far, it did not rise to the level where he would have been a person prohibited from purchasing a firearm. Yes, Uba.
If the shooter went to the church weeks prior, and if so, how long before the shooting happened?
So Uba's question was if the shooter did go to the church weeks prior. We cannot specifically confirm that at this time, but that is obviously a part of the investigation.
Even though those are all about the connection to the church and school.
Yep. So the question was the connection of the shooter to the church and school. We do know that the shooter did attend mass there previously. The shooter did attend school, and the shooter's mother was an employee of the parish previously for some time. So obviously there is a connection between that shooter and this particular parish and this school there.
Chief, what can you tell us about the 20? You mentioned another victim you mentioned today. How is that child?
So there's one additional child that was injured by gunfire that we weren't aware of at the time of the last briefing. They were transported by private vehicle to a hospital outside of the city, and the report was actually made to police after they had been treated and released. So the injuries to the children range from, in this case, I guess you'd call like a graze wound from gunfire, all to, again, some very serious life-threatening injuries. We have some victims that have been released by the hospital at this time. We anticipate perhaps a few more today, but we still have some victims who are very seriously injured and in critical condition.
Even though there's no criminal record, even though there's no criminal record, have you been able to find any police contacts where there was odd behavior, maybe that didn't rise to the level of a crime, but in any jurisdiction that's come up?
So the question was police contacts with odd behavior. There's nothing in Minneapolis where we did not have previous police contacts with him.
Is there anything more you can say today on the name change issue? I know that yesterday you didn't confirm that, but I know it's out there.
Yes.
Is there anything more you can reveal just about?
So the question was about the shooter's name change. We are aware that a few years ago, I think 2019, the shooter did have their name changed. We can confirm that, yes.
I know you kind of asked it in the FBI spokesperson talking about too. Had any law enforcement you found made contact with the shooter's family previously to what happened?
I can try it. Everybody. I'm Drew Evans, Superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. It depends on specifically what you're asking. We're aware of some reports in the past. We are gathering those reports now. There will be additional information that we'll be able to share down the line. But as the chief noted, and we think what is important in this and related to the question, this individual was not arrested for anything that would prohibit them from being able to purchase a firearm. There is not substantive police contact with this individual that would have raised concern to the level that would lead us to believe this sort of a situation would happen today. The social media, in terms of your question for that, just to be clear, the level set for everybody, there's a specific criteria in terms of how an individual can purchase a firearm legally in Minnesota. If those posts and information, I'll share it for everybody that we want to know going forward, this obviously is a terrible tragedy. We need the help of the public and everybody else. If there's concerning social media behavior by anybody, or that there's concern in their community, that they are contacting their law enforcement so that we can adequately address that in the process. That did not happen in this case.
So in terms of the evidence found with the search warrants, were you able to recover additional guns, and if so, were those registered and also legally purchased?
So the question was, in regard to the search warrant, were additional weapons recovered? The answer is no. Only the 3 weapons that were recovered at the scene, a 5.56 millimeter rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, and all 3 were used during this incident.
Any history of gun training? Because the shooter seemed fairly accurate.
We're not aware of, at this time, any history of gun training.
Any evidence that you have recovered against the shooter expressed any grievance against that particular
So the question was any specific grievance against the church. We mentioned there's a connection to the parish, a connection to the school, but we have not identified a triggering event or a specific grievance against the church that you could point to say this is the reason for why this happened.
Chief, I just want to clarify something you said. You said the shooter attended mass in the weeks before the shooting.
I did not say that. So the question was, did the shooter attend mass in the weeks before? We know that previously the shooter had attended that parish and had attended that school when they were younger.
Is there anything, any evidence that this person was radicalized or part of some online groups or anything like that would have inspired this behavior?
No. So the question was if the individual was radicalized, I guess, for a specific cause or a part of some online groups. And the answer is no, we have not found evidence of that, other than, again, just this fascination in general with many, many different previous mass shootings, mainly in this country, but also some from around the world.
Chief, any evidence to indicate why this particular church, just to kind of follow up on what others asked, why this particular church was chosen as the somewhere else?
So Matt's question is the question, why this particular church? And other than the obvious, which we have said, the connection to being from that church, being from that school, mom having worked there, we have not found a specific trigger for why to target the children at this church.
On that note, though, did the shooter seem aware that there was going to be this mass at this time, that the kids would be there at that time?
So
other than the obvious that they showed up and shot.
Yeah. So the question was, did the shooter be aware? Was the shooter aware of this mass at this church? The answer would be yes. This was a daily mass, but this was special in that the children were attending to celebrate the first week of school, the beginning of a new school year.
Chief, are you able to give us an update? I know we heard this from HCMC this morning on the injuries. Who's hospitalized, how many, severity, and you did mention that you expect some
Yeah.
of the kids to be released.
So the question was total number of victims who remain hospitalized. I do not have information that would have to come specifically from the individual hospitals. Again, I know that some victims have been released, and I believe HCMC mentioned at their press conference earlier that they anticipate a couple more may be released today. But I know both at HCMC as well as Children's Hospital that there remain patients who are in critical condition.
You've had more than 24 hours to kind of absorb this and kind of process this. Your thoughts on this?
So the question was, over the last 24 hours, for my thoughts on where we are and moving forward, I think we had dozens of police officers that responded, that entered there. I shared a story that one parishioner had shared with me of the relief they had seeing an officer running in towards the danger. And I know from dozens of officers who did respond that ran into the church and